Hello, welcome back. Let's play the Journeyman Project 3 Legacy of Time. So, a lot happened last time. We found out that the cities of Shangri-La, Atlantis, and El Dorado were not mere legends, but actual cities destroyed by aliens, thus somewhat justifying, or at least making understandable, Elliot Sinclair's violent xenophobia that drove the events of the first game. We also have captured Agent 3 finally for her role in the events of Buried in Time 2 after she willingly gave herself up after providing us with that information. And now, with the, what were they called? The, damn it, I forget her name. The Quothla, with the Quothla fleet heading towards Earth, our only chance, because Earth, as you may remember, has been mostly demilitarized, and even the symmetry of peaceful beings is relatively demilitarized since, you know, things have been at peace for a long time and there's no wars or anything, so nobody funds the military. So our only chance is to find this legacy before the Quothla get here, so we have a bargaining chip and negotiate in, well, what will hopefully be negotiations and not just a simple slaughter with them. So our first destination is going to be Atlantis, since it's the area we're kind of the most familiar with. We probably spent the most time there, or second most time there. And it's also just first on our list and the furthest away in terms of time, so it just seems like a general good place to start. So let's head there.
Look to the center of the city. That's the intact temple that the Sorolans obliterated into flaky temple dandruff. The layout of the city seems to radiate around it, as if it dominated every aspect of their culture. Sounds like a good place to start.
And it most certainly is. Unfortunately, we can walk on the bottom of, like, riverbeds and stuff because, you know, we are basically wearing a spacesuit. We can't swim, and we have no disguises, so we can't simply just dive in over the wall here and go into the water. That would be a bit too easy, unfortunately.
What an incredible city. What a difference from the aquarium we saw on our last visit. Judging from the caldera crescent shape of this island, I would gather that it was once an active volcano. If Agent 3 was right, and this really was Atlantis, then it surpassed even the most fantastic legends of its existence.
And down there, it looks like some sort of small dock. We're on a wind pump tower. Not the one that we were originally on. The one we were on was probably on the outer wall. Actually, that one, I think, specifically. But I suppose they decided to do us a favor and put us a little bit closer to the temple, which, fair enough. That being said, it does have, let's see, where is it? You may have noticed there was a torrent.
We have a lot of ground to cover, so if you get stuck, we can always time jump to another environment. Don't fret. I'll log the precise coordinates so when you choose to return, we'll appear exactly on the spot where we left.
I think it's here, and that's what Arthur keeps popping up with a message about. Come on.
Did you notice that one of the sails on this windmill is missing? Well, I did. And I deserve a cookie.
And actually, the same sail was actually on that windmill, too, amusingly enough. But they are different, or wind pumps, rather. But they are different wind pumps. Like, that is very obviously the one we were on originally a day later.
The inhabitants of the city were ingenious. See the series of concentric seawalls? It looks like they built a canal and a lock system to control the water level within the city. They've drained out the crater to expose more usable land. But if they're reclaiming land, why did they keep the water level high in the center?
And you'll notice he's right. Like, obviously, it's a ways down there. I know as a kid, I always wanted to visit that little garden in the center, because I thought it was so cool. But you'll notice they are keeping water high around the temple. But just, I mean, honestly, just this whole city is cool. Like, obviously, it's very small scale. Probably smaller than the city actually would have been. Even for a small city of the time, just, limitations of, what they could render and stuff, technology limitations, but it's just so cool. And you can see we are in the caldera of an inactive volcano. In any event, here it is. Arthur has something to say about this.
That door might be a trap. Door.
So let us go down the trap door. All right, and we can have a look around. Anything to say about this mechanism, Arthur? No? All right. We do have some gears here.
My gut instinct tells me those gears normally don't belong on the floor. I'm no engine mechanic, but where there's a gear, there's another gear.
So we can indeed take them, and if we look, you'll also notice we kept our wooden staff from the destroyed Shangri-La region. Object analysis, item gears, date found 5th of October 1262 BC, location Mediterranean Sea. This is a large pair of meshing copper gears. All right. We can take a look around here. Well, that must be where the gears belong. But we'll wait a second before we head there. Can I go any further here? I guess not. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so they want you to go around the other side. Which we can turn this, but obviously without any gears, it doesn't do much.
Igor, pull the first lever.
I need a lever that won't drive me crazy. Figuring out what all these gears do will be like looking for a needle in a place where you wouldn't normally find needles, like a balloon factory, or a bakery, or a cheese shop. Can I start this over? Another trapdoor. Looks like the only exit. Unless you want to jump out the window.
Yeah, who would jump out the window? That would be crazy. Only a crazy person would do that. Well, you also notice they have a fairly standardized design for these wind pumps too, which is pretty unique for that era.
I want you to watch the spiraling staircase. You're getting sleepy. Now repeat after me. Arthur is always right. I owe it all to Arthur. Gage is a chicken. I can fly.
All right, so let's head down and get out of here.
Whoa, stop, Gage. That must be the keeper of the windmill. Since you don't have any Atlantean guises in your chameleon database, it might be wise to meet him later. Let's find another way around.
Yeah, he is blocking the exit, because if we go any further, he'll realize we're here. And honestly, he'd have to be pretty unobservant to not hear us running down those stairs. Oh, come on.
Okay, our mission is to find this legacy, right? Let's start making our way toward that central temple. Since the windmill keeper is down below, our exit options are limited, but I'm sure you'll come up with something.
And if we try to go further...
Gage, you can't walk up to that person. If someone sees you in your futuristic Turtle Boy suit, it might change history. Let's find someone who's not paying attention and capture their guys with your chameleon device.
So, yeah, it's just... There are no deaths. It's just little jokes and Easter eggs and such. And references to mainly the last game. Well, we can't get out the bottom, but Arthur did say something about jumping out the windmill. And actually, I think he has a technical explanation what's going on here, so let's listen to that.
I may have an idea how to get out of here, but we need to get this windmill turning somehow. Let's check everything out in this room. Remember, where there's a wind, there's a way. Gage, those gears look like they belong with the pegs in the floor.
Okay. Let's see.
Well, on the roof, I saw that one of the sails was missing. If we start the windmill and align the broken sail with the window in this room, you can use it to walk to that nearby wall outside. Well, it's a long shot, but you're a man of action and unbridled machismo.
So yeah, this is like a clutch of sorts for the windmill. So when we turn it, we're releasing the clutch and letting the wind pump spin freely.
A few more turns, Gage. Heave! Put your back into it, laddie.
Which fortunately the windmill keeper or wind pump keeper down below is not hearing this at all.
I think this lever controls a clutch mechanism for the windmill. When you pull the lever, those snail-shaped wheels lift that toothed cylinder up the shaft and meshing it from that wooden gear on the floor. I'd say it's disengaging the sail assembly from the main drive shaft so the sails spin freely. I guess you didn't get that issue of popular windmills.
So this is what he's talking about that's becoming kind of unclutched. And I think we'll see a better view of it when we're on the broken sail. So we just gotta... Unfortunately, you can't just hold it until it comes around, but I think it's gonna be the next turn or two. Okay, it's gotta be one more turn. There we go.
There's the broken windmill spar. Now that we have it aligned, we should be able to walk out onto it.
So now that we're on the broken spar, we can,
Gage, once you pull the lever, jump when you are just about to pass over the wall. But first, could you sign this waiver that says this whole jumping thing was your idea?
I like how it still gives you the option to go back in. We got a ship down there. Get a little bit better view of this area. But yeah. So no quick time events or anything, but you can see how it kind of unclutches, and now we're free spinning. Until I guess the clutch comes back down automatically.
The first description of Atlantis in literature was from Plato in a series of discussions from his works Timaeus and Critias. According to Plato, Atlantis was a utopia that existed somewhere in the Western Ocean. It was never known whether Plato was actually describing the fabled lost continent or fabricating an elaborate concept to help prove an argument, as he was known to do. We shouldn't stand here for too long. From up here, we're likely to be seen. Oh, hi down there. Who, us? Just a couple of windmill repairmen doing their job. Gage, quick, show him your butt crack. Anyway, we should find a guise quickly before we really are spotted.
All right. I do love that joke. So again, even though we're on the wall, we cannot just swim to the temple. So really, we can walk this way, but this doesn't get us anything really. There's nothing to jump out onto, not safely at least. So our only option really is to go this way. I know I would love to explore this area more. Like, I would like to know, what is this building? What are these buildings that have like little docks on the I guess the temple pool, we'll call it, you know, like, is this where all their priests live? Like, is this all infrastructure for supporting the priests and their religious order and stuff? You know, who knows? So we can't really do anything here. We can only walk forward once more, so we can't even get all the way to this wall. But that's fine.
Go on, Gage. Take a flying leap.
Yeah, it'll be just like Assassin's Creed.
There's not much action up here. My friends would faint if they heard me say this, but let's get down to those docks. It feels so cheap. If you can jump over to the crane, we could climb it all the way down to the docks.
And that does seem to be our only option, so... I will say another thing I really like about all this is you can kind of see how I mean, this was true in Barrier in Time too, but you can see how everything is all connected. It's not like a bunch of discrete zones. So we can see the wind pump is there, the dock is here, the temple is there. Well, the temple access point we probably could have seen from up there. I mean, we kind of saw the upper part, not so much the lower part, but it's basically past this wind pump. And then somewhere out there will be a couple more locations that we'll be seeing later.
Remember, don't look down. I told you not to look down. Now you better use the umbrella. From our little perch, I'd say we have a couple of options. We can shimmy on down to the docks, or we can walk to the other side of this crane and climb down onto the mast of that dock ship.
So, and he's right. You can just shimmy on down the crane, or you can shimmy on down the mast. And what's really cool is you can actually see people from up here, too. There's a guy there with what looks to be a little ferry. There's another person sitting there, and there's a person sitting there. So this is about where you... Oops. So this is about where you'd want to be. Head down. Actually, I think it was that last point. But I've always come down on the ship rather than the dock. And we'll see where we can come down later, because it's pretty easy to access. And there's no point in going any further, so you're kind of forced off here. Hey, a rope ladder. Look familiar?
Avast, ye landlubbers. Ye face Arthur the Terrible and Blackwood the mildly terrible but still writes his mom. Strike ye colors and prepare to be bonded.
Don't mind me, I'm feeling particularly naughty today.
Fluffy, what kind of cruise ship is this? No skipper, no Marianne, no professor? Probably no shuffleboard or holes in the hull. I'm leaving.
And yes, there will be references galore. And ooh, what is this?
Look at that cloth. This ship must have been hauling silk, among other cargo.
Silk! How exquisite! Even though you're more of a summer, I think it would complement your jumpsuit perfectly.
Oh yeah, we'll take the silk. And we can see silk scarf. Item, object analysis, item silk scarf. Oh, come on. Sorry for the epilepsy. Date bound 5th of October, 1262 BC. Location Mediterranean Sea. I think it's... Okay, let's... Uh-oh. No! Alright, we are back. I think what's going on is, like, the ship kind of tilting is throwing off, like, making the mouse move when it really isn't, you know, so to speak. That was causing all the flickering, which was contributing to the instability that we get when in that view. So we'll look at the object description later.
Captain's log, star date 1262 BC. On a routine expedition, we've stumbled upon a strange Atlantean vessel with no crew. I'm hoping to rescue a naive alien mermaid shackled within the brig of this ship.
So you can see there's an ankh on it, and if we look at the design of the sail, it's a little hard to tell from this angle, but there's Egyptian hieroglyphics on it. So this is not an Atlantean ship.
Hey, I'm always good for a gaff. What's a gaff, you ask?
According to the Book of Webster, chapter 5, verse 4, a spear or pole topped with a curved hook.
In my dictionary, it's a useful thing to have in one's inventory.
And we will take it in our inventory. And you'll notice we can't walk any further on the boat.
Sorry, Gage, but you can't go any further. There's a native just out of sight ahead. You're going to have to assume a chameleon guides before you can go that way.
So, with nothing else to do, let us board the land. All right, now if you were to take the crane down, you would have come down around, I believe down on the other side, maybe? Oh, Arthur has things to say.
That voice sounds like it's coming from around the corner. the person really is blind, who better than to visit first? We could talk with him and capture his guise without worrying about being seen.
And yes, if you listen closely, there is a guy going coins for a blind beggar in the cargo, or in the background.
I'm fairly certain that the dock ship is of Egyptian make. What would it be doing here so far from home?
Curiously, it seems to have been loaded up with pithoi from the city, because or rather, perhaps the pithoi is being unloaded from it. Oops, Arthur's got something else to say. I guess we don't really know yet. Let's try to get Arthur's comment here. I also like how there's just a rock with rope around it. It must be used as some sort of weight, but still.
Those large earthenware containers strewn about the docks are called pithoi. Bronze Age Mediterranean cultures used them to hold liquids like oil and wine. When full, they would be incredibly heavy, which is why I assume they have the loading crane. And when you need a crane to unload your booze, it's time to admit you have a problem. Many huge terracotta pots like those pithoi were uncovered in the excavation of Knossos, the Minoan capital on Crete. Many of them ranged up to 9 feet tall and 6 feet in diameter. It's amazing they could turn pots that large, let alone fire them. All those handles were to distribute the weight over multiple ropes when they moved them.
So yeah, these are pretty monstrous in size considering the era that they're in. And because he's blind, we can actually talk to him because he won't know we're in our futuristic spaceman suit. You can almost kind of make something out. It's pretty hard though, honestly. Honestly, the best view probably would have been from the wind pump tower.
A few coins for a blind old beggar.
And there's a dialogue system in game.
Sorry, I can't help you.
Looks like nasty weather.
Nasty weather? That's strange. Even a cautious weatherman would tell you that today is a parasailing day.
And yeah, Arthur does all of our dialogue for us.
I'm sorry, I would have to disagree.
Really? I could have sworn I felt a star moving in. Well then, in that case, I think I'll stay here and get some rest.
Well, not much we can do there. But now we can walk around as literally anyone else and not be as suspicious. And in fact, we can actually talk to the captain. Which we will do now. And we'll take his guys too. Because his guys will end up being very useful for us. Basically, each time zone has a guise of like a new person, so to speak. Someone who could reasonably be expected not to know how things work, so that way you have an excuse to ask a bunch of questions that ordinarily people would be a little questioning of you if you were asking them.
Yes? A few coins for a blind old beggar?
Oh, right. Right, coins. Is there not something you wish to say?
Oh, yes, of course. Where are my manners? Thank you, friend.
No, that's not... That is to say... They are not whom I was expecting.
I must go now.
Very well, then.
He's a cagey fellow, but I guess being locked up will do that. Still, he seems to be waiting for someone in particular.
And it seems he's waiting for a beggar specifically, which is interesting. But if we want to find out why he's chained up to the ship, we need another guys to ask him about that. So let us get that other disguise real quick. And now we can ask him as the ferryman. Unfortunately, it'd be really cool if you had like a little info box like you do with your inventory. To keep track of like names and facts about these people. But unfortunately, the game does not support that. And yes, you can actually jump to either where you find the gaff or to where you find the silk. So in the future, we can just jump to where we found the gaff, and that'll make things a little bit faster for us.
Do not frown upon me with those eyes. If we were in my country, it is you who would be the prisoner.
So, what country are you from?
I hail from the proud and strong land of Egypt, the land of pharaohs.
Why are you tied up?
You ask me? It was your ship that attacked, unprovoked, and brought us here. If it were my choice, we would be far from this miserable little island by now.
I can see that you don't want to be disturbed. I'll go now.
Praise Osiris! Some peace at last.
So, yeah, it seems the Atlanteans attacked him when he sailed too close for the shores. I wonder why that is. I suppose we will find out more on that later, but for now we're going to steal the guise of the captain, and I'm going to lay down a quick save here. And we'll read through our inventory. So, object analysis, item silk scarf, date found 5th of October 1262 BC, location Mediterranean Sea. A valuable piece of silk cloth that was undoubtedly exported by the master weavers of Asia. Then we have the gaff. Object analysis, gaff, date found 5th of October 1262 BC, location Mediterranean Sea. This wooden pole is topped with a curved hook and has a reach of nearly 10 feet. And then we have coins. Object analysis items, coins, date found 5th of October 1262 BC, location Mediterranean Sea. A sizable cache of Atlantean copper coins. The inscription on each coin reads 10 dramoi. And those would be useful for us. Alright. So now we can talk to the last person on this little dock. Actually, this might... a little bit.
That tower structure by the docks could be a loading crane. The ball of rocks probably acts as the counterweight to lift things. With that big of a crane, they would be able to load waiting ships with massive cargoes. Or important passengers like Marlon Brando.
Yeah, and you can see... there's some rope there, so I think that's where you would end up if you, yeah, we have a stopping point here. Yep. So if you want, you can actually climb back up here. There's no reason to, really. And you can even stop halfway, I guess, if you wanted a better view of, I guess, the dock without going all the way up. So we can't get a good view of the sail there, and unfortunately this wall is too high to climb up. If we walk back here, there is no option to go up the wall. It is a point of no return, but in order to get here, you basically have to use everything you find anyway, so it's not a big deal that we can't go there. So we can head back down now. And there we go. Back on solid ground. Now we can talk to the, now we'll talk to the ferryman, who is playing a nice little tune on his flute thing.
Oh, Where can I take you?
Well, we want to go to the temple, so the temple.
The temple.
That'll be 10 dromoi.
Now here you do have the option, I believe. It lights up. But as I remember as a kid, if you do that, you actually lose this item, and then you don't have coins anymore, and then you're basically stuck. So we will not be doing that. We will instead use the dialogue option to give coin, because if you do that, you basically have a bottomless supply of these coins.
I am Kashani, but everyone calls me Kashi. You must be the captain of the boat they captured just this morning. I know how you feel. I am a victim too. The Atlanteans capture anyone that passes by. Now, the Atlanteans have kept their city secret for over 1,000 years. Whenever a ship passes too close, they capture it and they force the crew to live here as second-class citizens. No one is allowed to leave. The rules are very strict. Okay, this is it. Hey, have a good day now.
All right, so I guess that's just their doctrine, is to capture anyone that sails too close to the island. I suppose that's how they keep it a secret, but then how did the secret get out? I guess we'll have to find out. So yeah, you can see we're actually in front of that little garden I mentioned earlier, because this is the lock. And if we were to be where Kashani, I think you can actually see the very edge of the Egyptian ship at the dock. And the wind pump is next to this. I suppose that wind pump is directly responsible for helping to control the level in this water lock. And it's a very impressive looking lock.
The double axe was the holiest symbol to the Minoans. Religious axes were used by priests to kill sacrificial bulls for their beloved earth goddess.
And we have a guard. Hello.
No second-class citizens in the temple.
Gage, you like movies about gladiators? So why aren't second-class citizens allowed in?
By decree of the Templars.
Who is allowed into the temple?
Only native Atlantean citizens making deliveries or possessing a gold temple medallion may enter.
What kind of things get delivered to the temple?
Anything the Templars have need of. Today, deliveries are expected from the olive oil and potter shops.
What medallion?
A gold medallion bearing the seal of the temple. How do you expect to gain entry without one?
Interesting. So he doesn't say what the seal of the temple is, but it should be pretty obvious. Obviously, they have the double-headed axe on the door to the lock, and he has it on his armor. So that seems to be a pretty strong indication that the double-headed axe is the seal of the temple.
This guard is protecting a lock. Sort of a water elevator for boats, so they can get from one level of the canals to the next. It looks like we need to use this one to get up to the reservoir around the temple. Maybe we could go to the olive oil shop and see what kind of deliveries are going into the temple. There might be something there that could help us get by the guard. Well, then it would seem that I'm not going to the temple.
Good day.
Well, it looks like we aren't getting to the temple today.
He barred you from entering because you were a second-class citizen. Sounds like the city has set up some sort of rigid caste system. Maybe you could imitate the guise of another person a few rungs higher on the social ladder and find a way around the lock guard.
And we will have to do that. But for now, this seems as good a place as any to stop, so we're going to lay down a quick save here. And I think that will be it. So with that, thank you all for watching and stay tuned for next time and stay safe out there. And we'll see you then.